Well, it's a worthless vaccine, and there's a new study out that shows that just increasing certain nutrients in your diet reduces cervical cancer by 85%. Well, that vaccine is nowhere near that effective. So if you truly wanted to prevent cervical cancer in young girls, all you need to do is give them a couple of nutrient supplements. But, of course, they would never do that because there's no big profit for the vaccine.
Or not let them have sex with people.
Sure. I mean, you could do something really drastic, and that is reestablish a moral principle in which you're not having sex with everybody you meet in the shopping mall. But, you know, that's so drastic according to the collectivist left-wing viewpoint, we can't dare turn back the clock because that would just violate the laws of the universe according to their way of thinking. But, you know, we've got to reestablish the foundation of morality. We've got to reestablish these things and just tell the far left and the extreme social engineers we're no longer going to listen to their nonsense because everything they've engineered in the last 70 years is about disaster. I mean, the whole sex education thing was their idea. It was going to stop teenage pregnancies. It was going to stop the spread of venereal disease. Well, both have risen astronomically since their brilliant social engineering growth.
Well, their brilliant eugenics plan. Absolutely, Doctor. We got to break again. Stay there. Amazing information with our guest, Dr. Russell Blaylock. We'll give you his website again and tell you about all the great materials he has there so you can educate yourself. We're honored to really have a great patriot who's really probably saved hundreds of thousands of people on the show with us. We have over 100 books written by top scientists, the White House science czar, John P. Holdren, the head of the UN, all of them. All they talk about is putting things in your food, water, and your vaccines to sterilize you and dumb you down. I know that sounds horrible and hard to believe, but I mean, here's the Times of London. It was also in ABC News. Billionaire club and bid to curb overpopulation. And it says, America's richest people met in secret at Rockefeller University. And at the end it says, for a world government to carry out population reduction. And I've got CNN here yesterday calling for a one-child policy. Listen, there's a reason China is at the heart of this New World Order, and they're making your shots, and it makes you have miscarriages and get cancer. I mean, this is a fact. Dr. Blaylock, getting down to that point, I mean, you're a medical doctor, brain surgeon, scientist, but we've talked before, and you've been criticized by the media for your courage, but you're just reading, I mean, you've read the same documents I've read. I mean, am I joking around when I say the elite are saying they want to do this to us, and then 2 + 2 = 4? It's happening?
Well, there's been a great number of books written about population control, which if you're really interested, if you have any question about this, as you say, you can get on government websites, you can get on foundations. There's a number of powerful foundations that are supplying billions of dollars for this purpose, world population control. And if you read the literature, I mean, these are some of the most powerful people in the world. If you read their literature, they openly talk about how we've got to drastically reduce the population of the world and how everybody that survives this population control are going to benefit enormously because so much land will be available. It'll be easier to feed the population. There'll be less disease, on and on and on. They give all this justification. Well, there's a lot of people in powerful positions who believe this. I've had a number of my physician colleagues who agree with it. And the doctor's lounge will tell you, well, I think that the population needs to be drastically...
Let me interrupt you again. My dad, you know, he's an oral surgeon and dentist. He has a lot of physician friends. And when he went to college, he said in the 60s, this was the majority view. And what these people don't understand is these physicians aren't elitist either. Their kids are taking this stuff. See, the average yuppie, doctor, and I want to get your comment on this, they think they're immune for this. It's fine to, yeah, we're spiking those black people shots in Africa. What these immoral people, control freaks on power trips don't get is this is being done to everybody, isn't it?
Well, that's exactly right. And it's the delusion that somehow they're going to be in the group that's going to be spared. And when you look at it, the history of this collectivist movement, those are the people that are going to be included in the ones to be removed. I spoke on your program one time about Dr. Lilly, who wrote the Molecular Visions of Life, which was the history of molecular biology in America. Well, she is a very highly regarded historian of molecular science, and that's what the book's about. But she goes in great detail showing how the Rockefeller family had engineered with all of their friends, these multimillionaires, particularly through the foundation, a program to cause drastic reductions in human population. He was absolutely obsessed with it. Now, this is one of the wealthiest men in the entire world. Owns tens of thousands of corporations, either directly or indirectly. It was one of the major forces that created the Council on Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission. Powerfully influential in Bilderberg.
Doc, one more segment. 1 minute break. We're coming back to you. Finish up with that point. Then let's talk about these eugenicists now having government death care over our lives, what this means. Dr. Russell Blaylock is our guest for another 5 minutes. We got a news blitz coming up and another guest in studio. He was finishing up with the government documents and reports he's read about how they want to use medical tyranny to carry out population reduction through the vaccines, through the food, through the water. We're going to have him back up in the near future. I was showing you the Times of London where they're talking about this. My film Endgame covers it. And now with government health care, Ron Paul has said this is a medical tyranny, and he's a medical doctor, a OB-GYN. We got about 4 minutes left. Dr. Blaylock, you've got the floor.
Well, what people need to understand, look at what happened during this fiasco with the vaccine. How there were lies packed on top of lies. All these people are damaged and ruined and dead from this operation by the government, and they want to take over the entire healthcare system. They're going to run everything that happens to you medically, and you trust them. We couldn't trust them with one event. So how are we going to trust them with taking care of millions of healthcare events that take place every day? I mean, it's ludicrous. It's terrifying. And I think, and as I told Alex, I think that we're in the end game here. These people think they're so close to winning, they're no longer hiding their agenda. When I was looking at this stuff 40 years ago, most of this you couldn't find in anywhere unless you really did some digging. Now they're openly talking about it. You have presidents of countries that are openly calling for new constitutions, world constitutions. You have people talking about dissolving the sovereignty of countries openly. They're no longer hiding this because they think they're so close to winning. They don't have to hide it any longer. You can find population reduction documents very easily off the internet in which they openly talking about how we want to do this. You look at people like Rahm Emanuel's brother, who's a physician, and the Hastings Institute. They openly talk about killing off the old people in terms that say, well, we've got to evaluate whether your life is worth living. We no longer can just provide you with unlimited health care.
And under comparative care, Tom Daschle and all of them say that's the plan. And they sold raising taxes, cutting benefits, and having the government tell physician what to do. And it's so nightmarish, the average person just can't believe it.
And according to this bill, the physician will have no power whatsoever. He will be told everything he will or will not do. And if he doesn't do it, he'll lose his license or he'll go to jail. That's specifically outlined. And if people think that's not going to happen, they're deluding themselves. I've been warning physicians for over 30 years. They refused to listen all along, and here we are at the very end game. Everything I said was going to happen happened, but they were so hard-headed, so convinced that they could control it and stop it. And now that what I hear from my physician friends, they want to quit, retire, and get out of medicine. They're sick of it.
And now medicine will be carried out by government-trained kind of technicians, and they're openly saying somebody over 60 won't get a knee surgery, you'll get a shot of cortisone.
Or they'll give them a cane. People who have cataracts will just be given a stick with a red tip on it, and that's going to be your treatment. Now, if you think that's not true, you're deluding yourself. We see this in socialist countries all over the world. The idea is that you're not worth the expenditure. everything's based on public expenditure. Well,
I've got UN video where they say that. That's the socialist collectivist system.
Well, you get on the Hastings Institute website, they'll tell you that. There's numerous papers written by Rahm Emanuel's brother in which he openly calls for that. So now we have a government in power who you can find their words directly on these websites and these foundations calling for that very thing. And, people need to wake up. There's not a lot of time left to stop this.
BlaylockWellnessCenter.com. Doctor, will you join us again in a month for a part 2 to go through the bill itself?
I'll be glad to.
That's now law. God bless you, sir, and God bless you for your courage. It's always buoying to talk to you. We're going to beat this thing together. Take care.
Thank you, Alex. God bless you.
Have a great weekend.